Sio Nigad, Dakwadoa, Kara Cowan Watts. Hello, everyone. This is Kara Cowan Watts with Cherokee 411. And today we're here with our local senator. So, Allie, we're going to jump right in. I know folks that know you probably may have never gotten to visit with you in this way. So, I'm excited that our local folks and our at large Cherokees, the people, and maybe the Eastern Band folks, and our friends at United Katua Band get to know you as a Cherokee Nation citizen serving us in the state Senate. But please tell us about yourself, who your family that we may know, plus your ancestors. Tell us who you are as a Cherokee.
Thanks so much, Kara. Thanks for having me on. I have been in the Oklahoma Senate for almost 4 years, but I haven't had the opportunity to conduct an interview like this before. Usually we're talking about an issue or a bill that we're running, and we don't really talk about ourselves so much. So this is a brand new one for me that I'm excited about. So my name is Allie Seifried. I was born and raised in Claremore, was born in the Claremore Indian Hospital, actually. So spent almost my entire life here. Did not realize until I ran for public office that I am a ninth generation Oklahoman. That's as far back as I was able to trace my heritage in Oklahoma. And we've pretty much stayed in northeastern Oklahoma, predominantly Rogers County, for many, many generations as well. And so my maiden name is Warren. My grandpa's name is Larry Warren. My dad is Jim Warren. And so there are a lot of Warrens around Rogers County, and there have been through the years, also related to the Collins bunch as well. And so those are probably the names that people know the most if you are from these parts. And what else is there to say? I've got two little brothers, really proud of them. My youngest brother is named Chandler. He's working to be a pilot. So that'll be handy. Hopefully he can fly me on around the world when he finishes that in a couple of years. And then Jamie is in the Marine Corps, and we got to spend Christmas with him last week. So it's been a good time in the Warren family.
I love that. And personally, you're married to a small business owner, and you're from a family of small business owners, right?
Yes, yeah. So I met my husband, JP, who's also a Cherokee as well. I met him at Rogers State. He was born and raised in Claremore as well, but we went to different schools. I went to a private school, and he went to Claremore High School and also Sequoia. So we didn't meet until college at Rogers State, which is probably for the best because I don't think we would have liked each other if we met in high school. But yeah, so he has an accounting firm that he works with his dad on. I putz around in there a little bit, and between the two of our families, we've got construction, farming, accounting, restaurants, you name it. If the end of the world happened, I think we would be covered. We have, several industries within our family, and it's great.
I love this. Okay. So you've served, so now we know if we're related to you or not. That's important, in Cherokee land,
JP and
not
I
just
didn't
in
check.
Roger
I
County.
know JP and I didn't check before, but afterwards we did, and we were relieved because his family's been here a long time too.
Well, that happens. I'm related through Ludovic Grant to both former Chief Chad Smith and former Chief Bill John Baker, which are political opponents, right? So those things happen. It's on both sides. But in Cherokee Nation or UKB or Eastern Band, at some point, if you're marrying another Cherokee, that's why I married a Wyandotte. So,
Keep
yeah.
it safe.
Okay. Yeah. Uh, so let's see. 4 years ago, you got elected. I was excited about your race. Tell us about, let's start with like the things you're like the most proud of that you've accomplished. And then maybe share some of the goals, what you want to do, because I don't think people understand how you've already impacted their lives.
Man, yeah, I really hit the ground running. So we'll go back to 2021, which really feels like an entire lifetime ago. I think both in politics and just culturally in our world, everything happens so fast that 4 years feels like an eternity. But I was working in publishing, and I actually worked at a company that did family histories and legacies and a little bit of ancestry. So I kind of poked around on my own ancestry a little bit at that time. But the seat opened up for those who aren't familiar. The Oklahoma legislature has term limits, so you can only serve 12 years total. How it divides out either in the House or the Senate, you know, just depends on you. The House has 2 year terms, so if you stay in the House the entire time, you can run 6 times. The Senate has 4 year terms, so if you stay in the Senate the whole time, you can run 3 times. So the seat opened up. I had a little bit of experience in politics, but it was more kind of behind the scenes. I am not naturally someone who loves to get up and talk about myself or get up and talk in front of groups. And so that was sort of a weakness or fear of mine I had to overcome. But what I did have that I felt like qualified me was a deep love for this community. Obviously, my husband and my families have been here for many generations. And I did have what I felt like was a good head on my shoulders. And so I was willing to work hard, door knock, which is what it takes, I think, to represent your district. I knocked 8,000 doors between a primary, a runoff, and a general, and was elected in 2022. And so I almost didn't run for Senate because at that point, education in Oklahoma was pretty contentious. We were just a few years removed from the teacher walkout, and it just felt like it was a part of government and a part of Oklahoma that didn't feel like it could be solved, that everyone had these strong emotions, that no one was listening to each other, and there was no real solutions, and there was no path forward. So I literally almost didn't run because I thought I don't have the answers. I don't know. And the leader of the Senate at that time appointed me to be vice chair of education. So I go from almost not running because I was like, how do we solve this, to being smack dab in the middle of it. And it has been the best thing. And I have loved every moment of being vice chair of education on the Senate side. And it has been just the surprise of my entire time. I love it. I think about it all the time. I pass by the schools in my district. I pray for the teachers. I pray for the kids. I pray for me, trying to find solutions. And so it's been surprising to me how much I've just jumped in. But I've really, really enjoyed it. We've got great schools here, and I want to help them be successful. So all of that to say, what my biggest accomplishment has been actually came just this last year, and it was removing cell phones from classrooms. That's probably the thing that I'll be known about for a while. I've sort of become the no cell phones in classrooms girl across the state. But that came to my attention really early on in 2023, talking with teachers about what it was like to teach in classrooms and what it was like to try to teach your lesson, to manage a classroom. And the feeling is oftentimes they're burnt out, they're deflated, they feel like they don't have the support. And I felt helpless to help them, trying to figure out what policies I could pass in Oklahoma City to help the classrooms back in my district. And I was at a conference that was talking about, I think, the negative effects of cell phones and what it does to our girls, especially with self-esteem. But bullying, anxiety, depression have all skyrocketed since about 2010, which is right when cell phones sort of took off in our culture. And so I remember I first tried a pilot program last year, which I guess now 2 years ago, 2024. 9 schools. I thought if I can get 9 schools from across the state of Oklahoma for 3 years to commit to go cell phone free, maybe I can take that data, because I knew discipline issues would go down, academic scores would go up, retention would go up. But I thought it would take many years to sort of be able to talk about it, because at that point really wasn't talked about to the degree that it is now. And I couldn't even get it across my own Senate side. And so it got a hearing in committee, but I couldn't get it out of appropriations because it was a pilot program. And so that day was probably the toughest day that I've had in the Oklahoma Senate, just because if you're a good member working on an issue, you can at least probably get something over to the House for them to then kill it later. We like to kiss our bills goodbye when we send them over to the House, as they like to do to us. We sort of jokingly tease each other about that. But I talk a lot about how difficult that was, because I was like, man, it's just a small pilot program. I think it costs like $200,000 when we spend $4 billion on education. I felt like that was something that should have gotten a little bit more attention and had the opportunity to discuss it. But then I came back in 2025, and the conversation had just changed so quickly and so fast around cell phones in schools, that I was able to get something across the finish line finally. And so that's the thing I'm the most proud of.
So I don't know if you get the unsolicited feedback, but people bring me issues constantly. And of course, I'm part of Leadership Oklahoma and Oklahoma Academy Town Hall. So even people that I recall in private conversations that were naysayers, that were like, you cannot take my child's cell phone. They have to have that connection. What, they have rights, blah, blah, blah. And by the way, I remember as a Gen X, I had no rights, right? Like
Right.
you had no rights and you were raised by neglect, even by the best parents. And that was the nature of it. But it has been astonishing, both from administrators, teachers, parents, grandparents. Doug and I weren't able to have babies, but I'm getting that feedback from the people in my family, in the community. Overnight changes. The news has been really good about reporting. Use of libraries went up. All these things that we need to happen in the education system. So thank you, for me at least. I employ people in the community, and you're going to change that narrative for future employees to employers, and you're changing our economy at the very beginning. And so I'm excited about it. But thank you for that.
I'm
Yes.
really excited about it. Thank you for that. Yeah, it was tough. I sort of spent more time than I usually do talking about sort of the build up to the bill because
Hmm.
it only passed the House by one vote. It was one vote away from not passing. And I think that proves just sort of how difficult it was. It was easy in theory to talk about, yeah, we should remove cell phones, but then when you actually have to put words on paper, it was pretty difficult to build a consensus. So I had to change it about 5 times. But I told my friends, like my personal friends, please be praying for me in August because I'm a little bit nervous what that first week back to school will be like. I knew kids would adjust to the new normal, but I was a little bit kind of worried about the logistics. And man, it was way better than anyone anticipated. The kids enjoyed it. And like you said, like even employers, I heard business owners say, my employees are getting so much more done now because they're not on the phone with their kids all day, which kind of made me
Yes.
laugh. But yeah, and you shared my favorite anecdote about more library books being checked out because that's an issue that's near and dear to my heart. And so it has just been such an honor to have been able to do this and to pass this piece of legislation. There are 700,000 students in the state of Oklahoma. I won't know all of their names, obviously, but there will be students who weren't bullied, who didn't deal with anxiety, who formed new friendships, who got that grade, whose interest was piqued in a subject that they didn't know. And I'll never know that, but the Lord does. And it's just been so rewarding that He chose me to be able to be the author for that bill. And so it's been just beyond words.
I love that. And offline, you'll have to let me know who didn't. I'll have to go back and see who didn't vote for it that I know so I can harass them now privately, of course.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Okay. So, all right. Let's talk about, okay. Well, first of all, is there anything else that you want to share that you've accomplished these last 4 years before we go to what's next?
Yeah, I think, I mean, how do you follow that? But I think if I could just do a preview, I was able to pass a really important, I think, math bill. The state of Oklahoma does not test well in our literacy or numeracy rates. And thankfully, a lot of even businesses are starting to talk about the concern for our fourth grade reading scores. I'm also equally concerned about fourth grade math scores, which is sort of funny coming from this liberal arts major because I'm the words person in our family. But we're trying to sort of build some framework to test earlier, to identify maybe some weaknesses, to offer those in additional instructional hours for students and help our teachers. So just a little crystal ball preview for this year. It'll be a lot of literacy, and I'm hoping to also bring in numeracy as well during session.
Oh, yeah. So I'm on the advisory board for the College of Engineering, Architecture, and Technology at Oklahoma State. We cannot talk about math literacy and the ability to, like, the written word, reading and writing. It is, and I can tell you about it in construction here at Tulsa Pier Drilling. Those that you can't stick someone that doesn't have basic skills on $1 million drill rig and expect them to be safe and
Yeah.
document. So I'm excited to hear that as an employer, small business owner. Those are good things, very good things. So, what can we do to help you? I guess, are you posting these things on your social media? So if people are following, they can, if they are a Cherokee in any other part of the state, they can say, call their state senator and say, or their state house rep and say, hey, Senator Seifried from Claremore's doing the right thing and you better support her. I mean, like, how do you want that to work? Let's put
Yeah,
that Cherokee network to work, right?
Yeah, just tell them, just say, if you ever see a Seifried bill, just vote yes. You don't need to worry about it. No, but Facebook is probably the easiest way for that
Okay.
I can try to update my constituents. Session. It is just, it takes a lot out of you, and you have a lot of conversations. And so I try really hard at the end of the day to update constituents. But I also like it to be personal. I don't want it to feel like it's coming from anyone other than me, which sometimes means I'm a little bit slower in my response, but I think an authentic response is better. So yeah, but Facebook's how I update everyone. And I have 2 pages. We have to separate our official Senate page from our campaign page, but my campaign page is the one where I update everyone, and I can share official things from there as well. So if you see 2 different ones, make sure it's the Allie Seifried for State Senate page.
Okay. And we'll work when we do the written article with this written story, we'll work on making sure everybody understands where they can go for the various information. So what else that we haven't covered would you like to share with our listeners?
I just want to say that I am really, really excited and hopeful for this year. For those that are in the state of Oklahoma, we have a lot to celebrate. First, in the state of Oklahoma, we're celebrating 100 years of Route 66, which comes right through my district. One of the most iconic landmarks is in Catoosa, the Blue Whale. And we have several museums in Claremore. And so I'm really excited for people to come from out of town, drop those tourism dollars, support our local business, and drive on through Route 66. So there will be celebrations starting in May, I think, Memorial Day, going all the way through November. And then part of the reason why I wore the sweater that I did is because we as a country are celebrating 250 years later this year, the signing of our Declaration of Independence. And so if there's goes a week, if a week goes by that I don't buy something red, white, or blue, and I already had a lot, like I am just so excited about this. I am reading biographies. I'm just really diving back into our history, probably annoying my family with sending them podcasts about interesting things. But I think this will be a really, really special summer for a variety of reasons. And I think it provides an opportunity for us as Americans to come together and really celebrate 250 years of this phenomenal, amazing country that's the best in the world. So I want to highlight those 2 things. And in celebration for the 250th, I've relaunched the Senate District 2 reading program. It's a reading challenge that I participated in when I was in 3rd grade. So I have a website which we can link for everyone, and I'm challenging all students from Senate District 2, but I opened it up to everybody because I just want our Oklahoma students to read 25 books by April 1st, and you're entered into the prize basically, and I'll pay for you to come visit your state capital because I'm really passionate about encouraging people. It's a 2-hour drive usually, I know, but it's your state capital, and I think that the more times that you're there, the less intimidating it is, and then hopefully get more involved in your state government.
Okay, so you're going to have to share all those details with us so that we can put it in the story. And then our commitment, I have personally emailed all our state senators and House representatives that are Cherokee Nation citizens, offered them to come on and do interviews with us. And if you have any news releases from your office, we want to put them out.
Okay.
So that's the point of Cherokee 411 is if there's Cherokees doing things, we want to tell that. So
amazing.
Let us know.
I love that.
Okay, well, thank you again for sharing so much with our readers, I know, or our listeners and readers. But feel free if you have anything else you want to talk about. We welcome you to come back on. We'll have you again. But to our listeners out there in the Cherokee 411 world, until we see you again, Wado, thanks for being with us today.
Join the conversation. Discover stories and insights that matter to you. Subscribe to Cherokee 411 with Kara and stay connected with independent media, real, relevant, and unfiltered.